All systems go. Clear for liftoff. What's up, everyone? Tyler Tamboline here, a.k.a. ToeTagginTambo, back for another edition of the Monday Night Football Showdown show here on the Ship It Nation YouTube station. Got Title, got Hoop with me as always. Do us a favor. On the way in, make sure to smash that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel as we continue to grow it. We've got the Cowboys at the Raiders. And Hoop, I'll kick it to you first, but it feels like another one of these showdown slates where we're just going to play wide receiver roulette. I know we have a big conversation around Double B, Brock Bowers, but we got a lot going on in this slate, but there's a lot of opportunity at all these positions, really. How you doing, my friend? How's your week 11 so far?
So far, so good. I mean, this besides the Lions game last night, that was obviously very disappointing. I mean, we touched on it a little bit before, but man, that was bad. That was the old classic Jared Goff game, and we were watching it. My son had baseball, so we watched after, and even Mrs. Hoop, after the first Lions possession, she goes, "Oh boy," she goes, "it's going to be one of those Jared Goff games." So she nailed it on the first possession, because that's exactly what happened. It was one of those Jared Goff games where any sort of pressure just completely caved, just terrible passes in the dirt, like a lot of those balls to St. Brown, just like nowhere close. And like that last drive, like he's tried throwing it to Amon-Ra, and he's like looking around, was like, was that to me? It was really bad. And that's definitely the concern with the Lions. I've kind of said it, and I backed off a little bit because after that Packers game, they got back on track. But it looks like these games are going to pop up from Goff, and it's just a matter of when and how many. But any sort of pressure, he can't handle it. It's just bad, not necessarily turnovers, but it's either he's going to take the sack or throw a bad pass. And he threw a lot of really terrible pass. Reminded me of the what was the Sam Darnold game when he said he was like on the sideline, said he was seeing ghosts, right? From a couple years ago. Like
that's yesterday too, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, same thing for him yesterday. That's kind of the Goff reaction. So that was bad. So, but the annoying part, everyone's all, I should be more bothered by it than most, about the pass interference at the end of the game. It clearly was not a pass interference, but like I said, it's like if they get the ball back, how that game's ending. Like it's going to be not 3 and out, it's going to be 4 and out, because they would go for it on 4th down, obviously. So it'd be 4 shitty passes from Goff and then game over. But the one thing that would have been interesting, though, is if they did somehow score, Dan Campbell's going for 2 in that spot to win the game. Yeah, so that would have made it somewhat interesting, but seems very unlikely that they would have been able to take it down the field and score. It was a bad performance for Goff.
Yeah, we're going to be talking showdown here. So it was the people last night that had the Eagles D that really wanted to get that ball back to them, because they're like, I'm just going to get that free interception at the end from Goff and end this baby and get a few more points. Title, kick it over to you. Yesterday was a free money Sunday, but there's a dough up top on a Monday too. So we got to get it tonight. What's going on, my friend? How you doing?
Yeah, doing well. Always a lot of money up top. I can't remember how many years ago. I mean, Showdown wasn't a thing when we all were starting DFS. That was one of the best things DraftKings could have added. I mean, for themselves alone, the money, the appeal for people having it. But yeah, Showdown's an awesome game. You're never safe until it's over. And even then, sometimes you're still not even safe with stat corrections. But yeah, 49.5 total, 3.5 point favorites are the Cowboys. We're in a dome. We should see some offense, but hey, we should see a lot of things, and defenses continue to be on the winner. So we'll see if that continues.
God, I hope not tonight. It's been painful, but yeah, it could be a thing for sure. We got Geno Smith and Dak Prescott. That's 2 guys that could turn it up, turn it off, or do both in the same game. So we'll have to wait and see how it plays out. Hoop, just going back to you here. Title mentioned the total up top. The joke is right now that the refs, went with their way last night. Maybe tonight they'll let it play out a little bit more, because the NFL doesn't want it to think like that the rest of the week. What's your thoughts on the grand scheme overview? How do you see this game playing out tonight with the Raiders at home?
Just one more thing to add on to the whole thing. It's like they're clearly, the refs nowadays are definitely getting more feedback and influence from, what do they call it, from New York or whatever, on a lot of these plays. I mean, you can see they're delaying and then they're getting some message and then, making the final call. And a play like that, like, you don't need to review it, but like somebody that's a clear non-pass interference, like someone should just phone down and say, pick up the flag. It wasn't pass interference. Like it was very clear, very quick. Like, I don't get why they can't implement. Obviously, they're not going to review calls, but they're getting help along the way in these games. It's very obvious. So, like in that scenario, just give them the extra help. Say it wasn't pass interference, and let the game play on.
I thought they did change the rules for that a while ago, and then I was thinking that last night, and clearly they haven't. But it was like from years ago. There was a Saints game or something. Came down at the end. It was like it was like, well, that can't happen anymore. That's like clear as it possibly gets. They review everything else. Why would we not just review it? And reviews are a good thing. Like I know they take time and it's bullshit, but it makes the game accurate, and you'd want it if it was against you too. But I don't know.
Exactly. So anyhow, this game, I mean, from the looks of it, should be solid. I mean, it's what you want for a showdown game. Big total, close spread, pieces on both sides offensively that are pretty appealing. Now, how does it play out? I don't know. We've seen a lot of stinkers lately. I mean, not only on showdown, but even on like the main slates where these games just are busting, turn into defensive battles, or not even defensive battles, just like inept offenses battling kind of more so. So I'm ready for like a shootout showdown game where like these offenses like go off. And I think we have the chance. I mean, this should be an ideal spot for Dallas. Like, kind of offense back to full strength, got CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, Javonte Williams, you got Jake Ferguson. Dallas has so many pieces to make for a solid offensive game on the Raiders. I mean, obviously traded away Jacoby Myers, but they have guys. Brock Bowers. I mean, the one thing that definitely stands on the slate, like Brock Bowers at $8K. Like, why in the world is Bowers at $8K? Like, that is way, way too cheap. He's going to be very popular in all formats. But the Dallas defense is not good, so they should be able to get things moving here. So, the total's right around 50. Both teams projected to score. I think that's going to be what happens here, but, I guess I wouldn't be surprised if we went the other way. We've seen it on a lot of these games where you think it's going to be high scoring and it's not, but it definitely has the potential to be high scoring, and we have a lot of pieces on both sides. So ownership should get spread out pretty much all over the place, I'd assume.
Yeah. Our man BG Little Neck's in there said they did. Yeah, I thought they did. So they changed it, but it was a disaster. So they changed it back. I don't know how it would be hard to get that right, but I digress. Title, we did mention, I know I'll get to your grand scheme over here, but who mentioned the Brock Bowers pricing? It's all over X. People are talking about it. And of course, we never see super chalk tight ends get there, except for yesterday. We just saw it again with McBride. So give us your take on the Bowers pricing and then everything else you got with this game.
Yeah, that game was nuts. Brissett just the king in garbage time fully got there. That whole game did. And yeah, you were right. It was the Saints Rams, that wheel route, that big pass interference, ruined the whole game. So
did they call pass interference? And then he actually, what was the call on that? I can't remember.
He didn't call pass interference, but it clearly should have been pass interference. Near the goal line. So the next year, that play was that big. 2019, they tried it, and it was just an epic failure, I guess. So then after that, they didn't allow, because they allowed challenges. You could challenge pass interference.
That's right. That's what it was. Yes.
The year after, and then they took that away. So
that's just the easy fix now, though. Like, they're communicating with these refs. Just call it in and say, yeah, that really, anything that's like 50-50, yeah, let the call play out on the field. But the obvious stuff, like, let them call in real quick. Only on the plays where they call it and it's not there. Obviously, if they don't call it and it is there, no, you're not going to throw a flag after the fact. But once you've thrown the flag and it wasn't actually a penalty, let them fix it. They're getting feedback, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, I want baseball is at the easiest. Get that strike zone. You already know we're looking at it. If it's in there, it's a strike. If not, it's a ball. And we're not going to go discuss that. We've had a lot in Discord throughout the playoffs. But Brock Bowers, severely underpriced. Cowboys, man, so we had the Cowboys 2 weeks ago on the primetime slate as well on Monday. We were talking about it. They had a bye week last week. But I'm going to be looking at like Jaden Blue. He was a healthy scratch, and they called up Malik Davis that game, which on the show we nailed it in the sense of it didn't work out, but that just gave us more confidence in Javonte Williams. It does feel like most of these showdown slates, there's two running backs on each side, or at least most teams are now giving multiple guys work. The Cowboys situation, it doesn't feel like that one bit. If the healthy scratch Blue, Davis did absolutely nothing. Javonte Williams is a workhorse there, and the Raiders pretty much have a workhorse in Genty. Raheem Mostert, I guess, gets in a little bit, but that's the one unique thing about this slate relative to most of the primetime ones we've had is I just think running back, it's really only two guys. We do have a lot of receivers, like you mentioned prior, though. Raiders play two tight ends, a couple random guys for the Cowboys as well. But yeah, not kind of condensed for me in the sense of it's just a lot of these bums. Like we have solid value down below that like we know will be on the field rotating in that have real projections. We don't have to guess on Calcantara or Brock Wright like we did yesterday. And yeah, I know I shipped an Eagle slate, but I'm tired of these Eagle slates. It's so difficult to get those guys right.
Yeah, it is. This one will be fun though. I think when we get to it, we're looking at ways of the captain to get different. And if you are playing Brock Bowers, how you're playing him, all that matters. And we continue to see it is these, super low, what's the best way to put it? Less duped chop. Like even when they're chopped, we're still seeing like 65Ks and 51Ks. We're, you're not seeing all the time, but just the other night we talked about need lunch money, 500K straight, all of it. It's happening. So 100Ks on FanDuel are happening. Like it's out there to find it. There's definitely still an edge to the game when you can find that angle of attack. And if you play to win, that's the kicker. And the name is Ship It for a reason. So, trying to get to the top, get the job done, split it with as few people as possible. But if you're getting 60, 65K, something like that, nobody's complaining. Hoop, I'll kick it over to you for your captain thoughts. You mentioned Brock Bowers. 12K and the captain looks like he will be the most popular based off of that, but there's options on both sides. There's CeeDee Lamb, there's Genty, Javonte, Dak. Where are you going here at the captain spot?
Well, my initial thought is definitely it's around like Bowers, and just because of the price tag, he's going to be up. Not just because of the price tag. It's Brock Bowers. He has massive upside, but the price tag is going to make more people play him up top, not necessarily what we're projecting for him to happen on the field. So since that is the case, I like it for this slate that we know he's going to be the most popular. Most likely. I mean, it's like he's going to be the most popular. I can't imagine anyone else would be. So then it's like that keeps everything else kind of in line in terms of ownership. Like you have some high upside guys that are going to be kept in check because of Brock Bowers we're showing around 20%, which could definitely be the case. Everyone else is going to be kept in check, so it makes it nice. Like Title talked about the running backs. Good with both those guys. Williams and Genty getting all the work, can catch passes, can score multiple touchdowns. They're not going to get to 20 because we got Brock Bowers. CeeDee Lamb, who I love playing, and I definitely will be playing and could end up being like my highest owned guy again tonight. We're showing right around 10%. That probably does have to hold true because of Brock Bowers. George Pickens, I think I'm fine with, not as interested. The ones I'm most interested in, it's definitely the running backs and then CeeDee Lamb. Like those three are the trio that I want to hammer tonight. Looking at this game, somebody should go off. Like there should be a guy that goes off, and I'm hoping that it's a skill position player because I'll probably be a little lighter on the quarterbacks. Like I'm going to play some Dak. Gino, not 100% if I'm going to play him, but like if I rank my favorites, it's definitely CD, Williams, and then Genty. I will play Bowers, but I'm not going to force in Bowers to the point where I'm, trying to get over the field on Bowers. I'm going to hope that Bowers has 18, 19 fantasy points and somebody else outscores him. So I'll be more in on Bowers in the flex than on the captain. Going to play him in the captain as well, but I just like using him as just knowing that he's going to hold everyone else in check at the captain position. In terms of cheaper captains, not as interested. Ferguson, love Ferguson, with CD and Pickens and Williams. I don't know. I struggle getting to Ferguson. And I really don't like anything else cheaper. I mean, maybe Trey Tucker would be the next guy I bring into the mix, but I'm really going to focus in on, the three and then probably Dak, knowing that their ownership will be held in check because of Bowers. And like I said, I will play Bowers, but I don't think it's going to be with the field or above the field because that's a big boy number and you got to allocate a lot to get over on a 20% captain. That's just an obvious play.
Yeah. Shout out to American Wolf in here. Says, I'm here which I'm everywhere, listening to many shows, maybe listening to too many shows, it means to say, but what do we do about a 2-7 Raiders with a terrible O-line versus Dallas new edition? Sometimes, I mean, you got to play to your own script and build a story in there, but we're saying early on here, at least, is we could see where that leads to a higher scoring game and less defense for once on both sides. Obviously, you know, our guy Go Collect was talking about the DVP rankings here, but you know, you can play it a bunch of different ways. Title, what's your thoughts at the captain spot tonight in this game?
Very similar to Hoop in the sense of I don't really see myself spending down at captain. There's enough guys below 5K that I think can put up some points, and I think there's just enough studs up top where like Genty or Javonte can easily fall in the box twice. I mean, we always talk about how inflated these touchdown props are, but Javonte's plus 340 to score 2, Genty plus 400, Bowers plus 600, CD plus 750. If anyone scores 2 touchdowns today, it's probably some of them up top, and you're going to need them. So yeah, I think right now I'm messing with 7 captains, and that is including Geno. I think I'm going to include Geno just because he's been so bad. So recency bias is like, why would I click a guy that's been that bad? He has Bowers to throw to. He has Tucker. He has Lockett. He has Thornton. He has Besh, and Genty can catch passes. So I do always look at like, can he throw 3 touchdowns to 3 different guys? I think he can. So if that's the case, and we're looking at 6%, 5% owned, and he has kind of a price discount, 8,800 versus 10K for Genty, 10.4 for Dak, 9.8 for Javonte, 11 CD. Pickens is even higher owned. So that was the one I've kind of went back and forth on. And I think I'm going to play some. After that, CD, I mean, he's one of the best receivers in football. All the upside looks good. Pickens on the other side, Javonte, Dak, and then it's Bowers, Genty, Geno for me. If I just play all 7 of them, I can get almost at least with the field or overweight on all 7 of these guys if I want to do so. So I'm playing the studs today. I will definitely not be hoping that it's a value guy that gets there.
I love Geno. I think he's one of the best plays from a DFS perspective on the slate. Because again, I don't care about the pick or the play. All I care about is the game that we're playing. He literally is, you know, $1,000 or $1,200 more than Brock Bowers. Bowers, like Hoop said it perfectly. Bowers is a product of being Brock Bowers, but his ownership being jacked up as it is a product of his price and conversation. So we usually don't love quarterbacks up top. I try and call them out as I see it. One, you want somebody that can move the ball around. If you think Brock Bowers is showing up top, that means you think Geno's doing something. So you got to start there. And then second of all, it's the matter of you don't really want to play quarterbacks when they're super high owned. Geno is getting crushed in ownership here. And oh, by the way, let's see if the matchup, is it still the Cowboys? It is. Yeah. So that adds up on top too. So I love Geno up top. Almost any Bowers lineup, when people are trying to get sneaky with it, they're leaving money. Well, that money right there could be Geno flipped, and you could still leave money in the flex easily and probably will. So just noting it, I think he's a great option. I think Genty is a great option for that reason. I think Trey Tucker is a great option for that reason. All those guys are capable, but why they lead me back to Geno is because all those guys. On the other side, I think it's the same thing. CeeDee Lamb paying up. He's a pay up for probability. You're never often getting, I mean, it's often you're never, hard to say, it's an oxymoron, but you're not often getting CeeDee Lamb at 10 to 12% ownership on a main showdown slate where he's like the feature guy and you have tons of value plays, but he's still, again, like Hoop said, once you move to Bowers, it's taking away from other guys. So I like, 3 to 4 options on the Cowboys side. Ferguson, I mean, I'm definitely going to spread it out, but the benefit is this, you know exactly what that means when I'm doing this. I'm going to be underweight on Brock Bowers. And so that tells you all you need to know. I'm sure he's great up there. I'm sure he makes a ton of sense. This will look good with him. This is where people sometimes, wonder about what your strategy is going into showdown. You just have to be willing to play the game. We're going to be wrong on a lot of these slates. But if I'm right, and, luckily in the past, I've been right enough times to make it work for me, it's title saying as we continue to repeat it. It's not how often you are right. It's how much you win when you are right. And that's all I care about. And tonight there's a really easy way to be right. And that's what it's going to be. Outside of that, not too much to talk about. I don't think you're going to see me on a bunch of these like Lockett's, floor noise. People are bringing up Turpins, all them. I think it's going to be set to mostly, what would it be? 9,900, like Trey Tucker and above. And that still gets me like 8 options with an underweight stance on Brock Bowers. But that's just rounding out my cap thoughts. Hoop, you want to add on anything there? If not, you can take us more into the quarterbacks after my Geno rant.
Yeah, good point about him. I mean, I'll definitely play him. Like he was, I planned on playing. It was just a matter of how much, if I just got a little bit of exposure, but makes sense. I think, and the matchup is good. And likely playing from behind, and you have a very popular guy right there, price basically the same in Brock Bowers. So good with them. The one thing for sure, when you look at the slate, just the overall number of appealing plays is somewhat limited to me on the slate, unless you're into like the backup running backs and stuff. And there's just a lot of questions on that situation. So we already touched on the quarterbacks, good with both. And for showdown, quarterbacks for the most part are always going to be relevant in flex. It just comes down to what you do in captain. So I'm good with both those guys in captain. Talked about the running backs, Javonte and then Genty. Think I prefer Javonte over Genty if choosing. I mean, you can obviously play both, but I think Javonte is more appealing to me. I'm going to probably lean the Dallas side. I mean, Dallas, man, they're playing the freaking Raiders, and you made some defensive additions. Like, Dallas should take care of business in this game, and I kind of need them to in Survivor as well, in that big splash contest. I was forced to take Dallas, so I'll be rooting for them tonight. But they should. Like, you're playing the freaking Raiders, and it's in a dome. So I'm going to lean Dallas in most of these 1v1 situations, but the backups definitely don't love. Like, if things are going well for Williams and Genty, Mostert and I don't know, whoever the Dallas backup is, probably does not get much work at all. And this is a slate I just think you need points. It's not a slate where I'm looking for 5 from a cheap guy. I think you need the winning score is going to be a lot of points tonight. So I just don't really want to bank on these backup running backs. So I'll have most likely no exposure, maybe just a little bit. And then we got to see, is Blue a lock to be in? Title, I know you follow this stuff pretty closely. Is he for sure?
He's not a lock. My guess is he will be active though. And this, it was 2 weeks ago pre-bye that he got the healthy scratch. They called up Davis, who literally I think he got 1 carry. He did nothing. So I'm expecting them to go back to their rookie as their backup. But I just think it just shows how much it's Javonte. They don't trust anyone because it was Miles Sanders. They drafted Blue, and Sanders was the one that was RB2 until he got hurt. So I'm expecting it to be Blue. But if he's inactive, that's important news.
Yeah, so kind of have to monitor that a little bit. I mean, we'll see. But yeah, I just don't love these backups at all at this position. I'll just be focusing in on the main guys, and I do want a lot of both main guys because, like I said, if things are going well for the offense, there's a chance they get all the work, and that's what you want when selecting a running back.
Yeah, I want to add one thing too that you said, because it's important to note, if you feel this way, again, for anybody out there watching, it's all your stuff. It's your pool. It's your game. So if Hoop made a good point that there's not a lot of these fringe plays that you feel great about or feel like you might need or anything like that. And if you ever feel that way, that's okay. Even if you play a portfolio of lineups, because then it just tells you the next step, which is to focus on roster construction and building differently. So maybe you like a smaller pool and you're well, it sounds like I like all the same guys as everyone else. But if you're not playing a bunch of Bowers at captain, or you're not playing the next most popular captain, and you're building Trey Tucker captain lineups, well, now you can still fit in all those options that you like and don't have to just go to all these backup options. So I thought that was a really good point that you brought up there. And then the chat talked about it too. And I want to bring this up also about the left tackle, he gets sacked, about Brissett lost by 20 yesterday. He got 2 INTs, all this shit. He can still put up 30 points. It doesn't matter. Geno himself, our man Sheets, won 100K, got second in the Millie Maker when they got blown out by Washington by 30. And it was Geno with 3 pass catchers. I know it's sad, but these are our main slates. Is
Brissett the new Jameis Winston?
Yeah,
I think he might be, honestly.
He's got to be better in the sense of he at least puts it on his guys a little more.
True.
I mean, Jameis just wings it out there. The Packers still almost lost to him.
End. He gave us the final.
I was sweating that one for sure.
Yeah, I know. They are.
You were on the other side. You needed that on the other side, right?
They were so low owned in most stuff.
Really?
Actually,
even the Packers were? Oh, they're already used?
Yeah, used so much.
Okay.
Literally the highest outside of the New England was 10, 2 people in each thing. It was so diverse. People played the Dolphins. One person. I mean,
yeah.
So,
I saw a lot of people at Dolphins. That was
no carnage. No.
Just Atlanta. Anyone have Atlanta?
0 in the 5. A little bit in the 1.
Yeah.
This might be interesting to you, Hoop. How tall do you think Jacoby Brissett is?
6'5". Seems tall.
6'4". Yeah. How tall is Kyler Murray?
5'11" or 5'10".
I think they said, is he actually 5'8" is the question they're asking. So I don't know what his actual is, but I think it is like 5'8". Just making fun of it. I'm short.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny because people always make fun of Kyler not being able to see these guys, and Jacoby could not miss 47 completions. I think new NFL record as he just sits there on the bench at a huge loss. Like whatever, who cares? But man, Michael Wilson getting 18 targets and 15 catches. I didn't even realize it till it was like, what the hell's going on?
I didn't realize it at all. Like, I didn't really have much of a sweat, so I wasn't paying super close attention to it. And then it's like, geez, like that actually happened.
It was crazy. Ended up with 18 targets total. But yeah, that's the running joke, obviously. And someone said he can actually see his guys. So that's how he gets them the ball and gets the completion. So
that helps.
Darnell Washington.
Man, that play was so sick.
That was amazing, man. That was amazing.
It was nicknamed Smashington, Squashington. This guy was just running these guys over like bugs, man. As he just goes good. That's crazy. Yeah. All right, Title, I'll kick it to you, man. On running back. I guess I was looking for some Jaden Blue news. What ended up happening to that Malik Davis guy? They ended up cutting him right after.
No, he's back to the practice squad.
Yeah. I thought it was like they had to sign him from it because he could only come up one more time or something. So is he just officially paid to be on the practice squad now and they can't bring him up again?
I guess I don't know for sure if that's the case. Maybe he got cut knowing no team would pick him up and they got him back there. I don't know. I just know right now he's not on the active roster. We got to see it like inactives right now. I'm assuming they're gonna go back to Jaden Blue as RB2. If that's the case and you're playing 50 plus teams, I mean he's 1.4K. The only guys that are going to be on the field below him are Jack Besh at 1K and maybe Hunter Lepke a little bit at $400. You can also throw in the running back room, but it's pretty obvious. Like Mostert's the backup for the Raiders, 2,400. Sure, if you're playing a bunch of teams, I don't know how you get excited with any of these guys, but Javonte and Genty, and I'm super excited about these guys. A big total, two guys that are the only two favored to score a touchdown in this game, -160, -145. You're going to get the ball out. I'm looking at the report card on the Stone. Raiders been okay against the run. They're just a bad football team in general, though. Cowboys were showing a lot of bad grades, even though they did get some guys on defense, I know. But, yeah, they're going to – Genty and Williams can also catch passes out of the backfield. Genty's actually favored for over 2.5 receptions, like -138. Plenty of ways to get there. They're going to be on the field a bunch. I like both running backs quite a bit.
Yeah, I got the story. I don't even think it's going to affect anything, but of note. So they did have to bring him up. You're correct. That was the news the day Blue was a healthy scratch because they signed him. They just said, forget it. We're just going to bring him up. When they did the trades with the Jets and everything, like all the trade big blockbuster shit happened, they waived him. Nobody picked him up. And then they signed him back to the practice squad. And he's eligible for elevation after the bye week, which is now week 11, but it's not very unlikely you would see that, but just of note so everybody knows what's going on, but we'll wait and see. Nate says just makes for a case because we kind of ended on captain. I don't disagree. Like I think that's key, but I think it's also with a different captain because then you can get away with sort of putting similar plays in, leaving $800 or $600 and whatever. If it makes sense, it makes sense. I think that's kind of the setup there. So yeah, no one picked up Malik Davis after being put on waivers. Shocking. Yeah, very, very shocking.
What about Jamar Chase too? I mean, how dumb do these people have to be? Like he just flat out lied too.
Yeah. Like I mean, there's
no camera, there's no video. Well, I would unfortunately say, yeah, I'm an idiot. I did it because people are gonna watch it.
You gotta tell the truth, right?
He's gonna get a game.
Game, right?
You can't spit on people.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, I'm gonna say the truth because the whole world's gonna be able to see the truth.
Yeah. Now you spit on a guy and you're a liar. Like they're both just terrible things, but you could have just been like one and not two. You could have just been someone that spits on a guy but not a liar. Now you're both. And
I don't remember like any NFL player. I'm not sticking up for it. I'm with Title on this. Like it's gonna be on camera, but I don't remember like any NFL player just coming out and being like, yeah, I spit on that guy. Like, that was me. Like they try and just hope for the best, like no, underneath behind their back, fingers crossed, no camera on that angle.
Yeah.
I just looked at him and like, it looked like I spit on him, even though you can literally see it in slow-mo come out from across and you see Ramsey ponder it for like 2 seconds. He's seen it the whole time. And he's like, I can't do this. I know I'm going to get in trouble.
Yeah.
Nah, you ain't spitting on me, pal.
Yeah,
Bang.
I don't blame
That,
you.
that's like such a pussy move though. Like you're an NFL football player, padded up, and like you're gonna spit on a guy, at least like punch the helmet, which is also dumb. I mean, it's so stupid when you see these guys punching a helmet, but definitely do that over spitting on a guy. Like who would spit on a guy? That's like the ultimate just weak move. Like do any tackle.
Do the Andre Johnson, Cortland Finnegan back in the day when those two went at it, and they go at each other and really do something if you're going to do it.
Now, what's
Spitting
the one though? Buddy got
awful.
his chain ripped off multiple times. Crabtree? Didn't Crabtree get his chain snatched or someone? I forget who it was now, but it was definitely a chain snatch on the field. And it was like, man, that's pretty aggressive. That's like in the streets. I'm going to take your chain from you. And they just, you want to rock the chain? Mine now. Taking
Andre Johnson Finnegan was one of the best.
Yeah, that was a good battle. I remember that one. Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Evans and Lattimore have had battles. Yeah, we've seen that. Debo's chain. Now Debo got a different chain. No one's taking that. It was Crabtree versus somebody, but I'll let you guys keep rolling. I don't have.
Boy, was that UFC though? Scataboo. You see that?
Oh yes, yeah. He's goofy. He had his glasses or something on. He was cleaning them. Yeah, Scats was right in the back. Brunson tweeted. Brunson was like, "What am I doing? Not going to MSG?" Like people don't realize if you're even a little bit of a UFC fan, if you have a chance to be live in attendance, it's unlike any sporting event. I mean, it's psychos going in there, and it's 8 hours of just violence. It's so sick.
Yeah, it was Aqib Talib, man. That's what it was. And Crabtree, little chain snatch action. Said, "Give me that shit, boy." Doom took it right off him and then tucks it in like he pretended like he didn't have it. It's like the spit thing. He tucks it in underneath his shirt a little bit just to be like, "I don't got your chain." Then I think they found it in the ground later on. But yeah, and then he did it again too. To Tyler's point here, this was the other one. Took it twice. Give me that chain again, man. That's good shit. Gotta love that. Yeah, there's been some good ones. All right, I don't have too much else to add at the running back position. We'll wait on that news, like you said, but assume Blue is going to be coming up. Again, these options are. It just goes back to me what Hoop said earlier, like the Blues, the Loop Ks. Yeah, if you got multiple lineups, 50 plus, you're probably getting some of those guys in your pool just naturally as ways to make your lineups more unique, whatever the factor might be. Did anyone talk about Mostert? And I just missed it talking about chain snatching. I'm curious what the Mostert thoughts were quick.
Yeah, I said a backup running back that's cheap, that's in play, but 2,400 is somewhat of a real price tag. It feels like he almost has to get in the box. I mean, he's plus 1,100, and DraftKings doesn't have any running prop outside of both quarterbacks and both starting running backs. Like I'm not going to say you need an injury, but it feels thin. I'm preferring these like cheaper receivers-ish over that. But if you're playing 50 plus teams, like you're comparing a lot of bad guys in that like 1 to low 2K range essentially, and he's low owned, but I don't love it.
Yeah, I'll see where I end up on that. I think I just feel like we've seen him a little bit that you could like see him get in there, but yeah, he would need the touchdown. But it's like if he comes in, you would think that's kind of what's going to end up happening if you get one taken away, or if you have like a blowout lineup or a lineup where they're losing later on, anything like that could happen. But yeah, it just depends on how many lineups
8
you got.
Snaps last week, 6 the week before, and then bye, and then 9 the week prior. Like, I mean,
well, what type of snaps were they though? That's the key.
Yeah,
remember who's the guy we had from New England a couple weeks ago, or like what was the New England New York Jets game on primetime? Who was the backup running back that we bet 2 touchdowns in the Discord on? There was Rio got us fired up. No,
Jennings
Rio got us fired up. No, because Terrell Jennings might not play. Remember?
Oh, Dearness Johnson.
Dearness Johnson. We found the 2 touchdown prop. It was fire. Everyone was excited. He got in there the week before for like 1 goal line carry. We're like, oh, baby, give us just the anytime at least. And we still couldn't get that one. So, yeah, Dearness, man. We have some fun in the Discord. That's what I love. Yeah. So, yeah, maybe that's Raheem Mostert tonight. We get in on that action, see what happens. But I don't have anything else on the running backs title. I'll kick it back to you on the wide receivers. We've talked Lamb. We talked a little bit of Tucker, but Pickens, Turpin, Flournoy, Thornton, Lockett, Tyler Lockett, former Seahawk connection. That's what people seem to be excited about. I saw somebody earlier too say play Lockett in the captain. I'm fine, but you would definitely want to get like really different after that because you're just going to land on the same 4 or 5 studs that everybody else does. So you won't really have much of a different lineup overall.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to Hoop. It was the last Raiders game. I believe it was Showdown or something. He was talking Lockett. I was calling him Dusty, and I feel like every pass was going to Tyler Lockett.
Definitely still Dusty, but Dusty guys can still perform when they're given the opportunity.
It's true. The problem is now is we have Tyler Lockett at ownership. 16%. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if it was a little higher just because of the range that he's in. But yeah, like these Raiders wide receivers outside of Trey Tucker, who's 6,600. I still am going to definitely play some Trey Tucker, though. Wide receiver 1 on the field almost every single play. Geno's second favorite target behind Bowers, but I'm going to play that. But Lockett, Dante Thornton, and Jack Besh are 3, 4, 2K, and 1K. Like, if Geno's going to be slinging, especially if I'm playing some Geno captain teams, they fit in nice. But that's like, instead of playing Mostert or Jaden Blue as much, I'll play these receivers that at least will be on the field. If they get a catch for 10 yards, that's 2 points right there. And they have better touchdown props than the Mosterts. Actually, no, Besh is plus 1,100. A little better. Thornton's plus 600, Lockett plus 425, Tucker plus 220. So books are saying it's Tucker, Lockett, Thornton, and then Besh, and that's how the snaps are, and I do agree with that. So all of them are very much in play. Cowboys stuff, Flournoy is the one that's standing out most to me because he feels overpriced at 4,600, but he clearly overtook Tolbert's role. We talked about that in week 9 as well, and he's outsnapping Turpin about 3-1 as well. Turpin's outsnapping Tolbert by a little, so we get a clear wide receiver 3. Cowboys should move the football. Javante's owned, Dak somewhat owned, CD somewhat owned. Like if Flournoy gets in the box, that's leverage off a lot of different things. So I'm going to overspend a little bit for Flournoy. He projects worse than the kickers and stuff in that range. Nothing really else to say. I'll play a little Turpin, a gadget guy at 3K as well. But yeah, Tolbert's pretty much out of this offense, which is why Flournoy gets a boost and Turpin's always a gadget guy.
How far off was the Thornton snap count when you pulled it up versus Lockett last week?
Thornton outsnapped him by like 3. I mean, it was really close. 62% of snaps, 57% for Lockett. Besh was 23%. So Tucker plays every snap. Thornton and Lockett after that pretty much the same than Besh. So yeah.
It was somebody in here, Ricky Pearsall, our longtime supporter, 49er, Ricky Pearsall back on the field. Good to see you out there doing absolutely nothing yesterday. But as a Raiders fan, I would be shocked if Thornton doesn't get – I like the line, though. Doesn't mean he will catch them, though. I agree, and that's part of it. But I definitely think he's a solid option at 2K versus 3,400.
He had a bad drop. He did have a streak down the right sideline.
That's what I was thinking, yeah.
Yeah, he put it in his hands. It was a really bad drop, but that would have been like 4.55 points, literally right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it was Dearness Johnson. Now it's Dante with the, getting a little action in there. We can try him out instead today. $2,000, I think, good option in the flex at least. So I'll go there. Hoop, what do you got at the wide receiver position? Anything to add on, or any others you want to talk about?
Not much to add on, but I mean, just to continue on with that Thornton conversation, probably my favorite, cheap guy, favorite guy below like the kickers. I mean, I'm still in on Tyler Lockett, but I mean, the upside I think is definitely clearly limited. I'll take the guy that is going to get probably some deep shots down the field against this Dallas defense that has given up a lot of big plays this year. So Thornton definitely stands out to me as a solid, showdown sort of play, especially if you're playing Geno captain teams. Like that's a really good pairing right there. So I'm definitely in on Thornton. We already talked about CD, Pickens, Tucker. I think those are kind of in a group of their own. They're going to be on the field the whole time. And, Tucker at 66 is definitely a solid play. It's a good price tag for a guy that's going to be on the field and, potentially playing from behind. I guess, maybe we're talking about it a little bit like too much, like Dallas is going to have this big lead. They're only favored by 3.5, so it's a field goal game essentially. But, I do like Tucker at that price tag. Lockett at 34, we talked about it on was it a main slate or showdown? I can't remember, but we definitely talked about Lockett.
I think it was the showdown. Who did the?
Yeah, it was. It was in Denver.
Broncos.
Yeah, the Broncos. Yeah. It's not as appealing when he's going to get some ownership, but still in play. We need value on the slate. We definitely need some value on the slate. So good with that. Turpin, Flournoy, I like to call him Flournoy. a little more expensive than Turpin. Turpin's definitely going to get some more ownership. At these price tags, one big play is really all you need. And then this Jack Beck guy, I don't know. I don't get it. A lot of people always talk about him. Is he playing? Like, what are the snaps looking like for Beck?
Not much. I mean, about 1/4, 1/5 of the snaps. It's a rookie. He got buried on the depth chart. There wasn't really that much hype. Thornton had a lot of hype coming into the year. Besh has been stashed, but he'll be on the field on occasion.
Yeah, Thornton was a guy in best ball. Like him and Tucker were kind of going in the same range. So I don't know. I like Thornton quite a bit here, and I might need some back, but I'm not thrilled about it. But kind of where we're at for wide receiver.
Yeah, this is not.
I mean, it's just hard to project those the 2K guys that are just dependent on probably like one big play. It's like what do you want to put them at? Like you can't put them much higher. You can't project them for like 6 or something like that. So
it goes based on props. It's a 12.5 receiving yard, and I believe it's
not under projected. But you're talking about that's why I wanted to bring it up because the guy has 1.4 like he's not under projected at all. It's you're playing him for the slate at hand. And if everyone's going to play Tyler Lockett for a little bit more, they're going to move to the other side with one of those Cowboys or whatever else it might be. It is only one play. It is showdown. That one play makes or breaks a lineup. We see it all the time. So that's what you're playing him for. But I wouldn't like go boost his projection unless you just want to make sure you're doing it that way to get more of him. Then I'm fine with that too. So maybe that's what you're asking for. But I definitely think it's an option here to go with Geno at captain, like they're talking about. And then, someone said like, Brandon, this is true. Probably. Yeah. Good bet would be Geno to throw an INT tonight, but it doesn't mean that he wouldn't be involved still. Like I said, these guys can throw 2-3 picks and still get out there and play catch up. And Geno's done it before. He can do it again. Brissett did it yesterday. Team, you can lose by 20 and still be up there, on classic slates, let alone on a showdown slate like this. It's possible as well. So I think it's interesting just to look at from that perspective. Turpin is another one, even on the other side. I think the other thing also is that Pickens just gets squeezed in some way, shape, or form. Like just based on everything, he's $1,000 more.
I agree with that.
Bowers.
And I did want to touch on that. And I think that's a really good point. Yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah, I was.
No. Continue on. But I think that he just has to, like right there with CD above him, Brock Bowers below him as a pass catcher, Trey Tucker looking like a solid value. Pickens has to come down.
Yeah. So going back to that too, I think the other thing it made me think of was like, I would definitely still have interest in the captain as well. If it's like a Pickens game and that's where the Cowboys score their points through, I think that's another thing that stands out to me is just, different ways to use him. But most people, when they're getting any of these lineups where they're going to have the money left, they're going to probably be able to get to Lamb or they'll go down to Ferguson or whatever it is on that team specifically. But you also have to consider about the lineup spot that he's taking up. It's all flex. There's 5 flex spots. So it's just like on the classic slate where you say, flex can be a running back, a wide receiver, a tight end, can be anything here. And a lot of people are using Bowers and you can play both. I'm just saying if you're looking for a swap or something that just gets you a little bit different, that would be a way to go about it as well. If you're in like a Geno lineup with no Bowers, but instead use Pickens on the other side, it's like a double whammy because it's like Bowers out of the captain, Bowers not needed in the flex, the guy almost the same price. Most people have some different combination of that. You'd be leveling yourself into a different spot where that could put you up to the top. Obviously, you go to the bottom if Bowers is needed, but just in that example, thought I'd bring that up. Title, mentioning Bowers. We continue on with that, but Ferguson on the other side, I'll let you take it into tight end. You've got Schoonmaker, you got Michael Meyer. Christmas, we're on to Christmas soon, but Halloween's over, but maybe Meyer is the ultimate sneak play. We saw all these backup running backs get in there yesterday. Maybe Meyer gets the action, takes it away from Bowers. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'll definitely be playing. Meyer is just someone that's always on the field, or he's on the field a good amount, even when Brock's in, because they run plenty of 2 tight end sets, the security blanket for Geno. Nothing wrong with that. The problem is, for me, is the Cowboys situation. Like Ferguson, talk about getting squeezed. Ferg has to get squeezed, and he's just overpriced in my opinion. Now, yeah, like you're paying up for lower ownership, and when he gets there, he fully gets there. But you go $800 cheaper to Trey Tucker, pretty much projected the same, and then Aubrey and Carlson and stuff, you're getting over 2K plus savings. But if you're going up, it's Brock Bauer for 600 more, Geno and all that. He's in a dead range with Trey Tucker, and Trey Tucker projects pretty much the same for 800 less. So he's someone in chalkier lineups and stuff. Maybe I find my way onto him, but I definitely don't love him in the vacuum. Schoonmaker, I will play a little of at 1,600 just for the sense of he's had at least 2 targets in the past 5 games. 2 catches for 20 yards, 4 points, could be enough on this slate at $1,600. So if 4 is enough, maybe at 1,600, just because of who's in his range he's competing with, I'll get a little there. But I do not like Dallas pass catchers. Ferg's overpriced, but again, you can use that to your benefit because he'll be lower owned that way. I like my favorite tight end at cost is Mayer, I think, for sure, though.
Yeah, one thing that's interesting is like looking at it from that perspective. It just depends on, especially for those I talked about this morning on Takedown Breakdown. A lot of people watching this are you saying, "Oh, I don't have 150 lineups. I'm not playing 50 plus. I'm not making my decisions based on all your guys' portfolio thoughts," and that's okay. We want to try and tailor the content as best we can to what you're actually in on. And I think what people struggle with sometimes is like with Tucker, they game log watch and they're saying like, well, 5, 6, 8, 12, 11, 4, but wait, he can throw up a 43.9. So that like they look for that angle, but in Showdown, it can be a bit different. And then you look at Ferguson, you do pay a little bit more. And the fact that, he seems overpriced, but people see a 21, a 23, a 17, a 21, like all these bigger numbers more consistent. So maybe that's where when people are building, they kind of feel that way. But if you have the money, I'm fine with it. I just think that's, a good call out by you, but you know what you're getting with Ferg is you're going to get a little bit more, safety, if you will. But, with Tucker, you're playing for the home run. If it's a big Tucker game, and tonight he's also happens to be a really good leverage option because he's right there. But to be honest, Ferguson is kind of the same. He's another tight end, 11-1 to Brock Bowers. Any Brock Bowers captain lineup can be Ferguson. So that could be another way to look at it as well. So good points across the board. The chat thinks it's Meyer. What do you think, Hoop? What do you got here outside of the conversation around Bowers? Your Ferguson takes, any of the backups? What else do you see?
Yeah, I mean, not anything in terms of like a hot take. We already talked about Bowers, like just clearly mispriced on this slate. And, that's going to mean high captain ownership, high flex ownership, but definitely not, trying to fade Brock Bowers here against the Dallas defense. I mean, just a phenomenal play. It's, just got to be a little bit different with how you play them. Mayer, I think at 4K, like Title said, I think great play. Great. I mean, it is kind of weird, like looking at this offense. I mean, you could kind of make the argument that it's, Bowers wide receiver 1. Mayer is right there as, him and Trey Tucker. I'd kind of have equal as wide receiver number 2, and he's 4K. So, great option. Does get tricky with the Dallas stuff. I mean, big Ferguson guy, love him, but man, the 74, it's tough. And it's not like he's priced where 50 and a touchdown might not be enough. Like if he gets 4 catches, 50 yards and a touchdown, probably on the optimal, but it's like, he really's got to do something, I guess is the point I'm trying to make at 74. And he could get there for sure, but probably prefer him more in Dak captain teams. And the same with Schoonmaker. I'll have him in the pool. Don't want a ton of them, but Dak captain teams, I think, is the best way to utilize Schoonmaker and Ferguson, like I said.
Yeah, I think it's, the Ferguson one could be interesting when you're looking at your Bowers build. Like Brandon, I just answered his question here. Like we do play 150, but it's all tailoring it to what you do. And that's why we're trying to give ideas and not just, the hard and fast, you got to use this guy up top. It's how you want to build it. But I think if you're building a single entry tonight and you're thinking about Brock Bowers, you can think about what it could look like with somebody else up there, whether it's a Pickens, a Ferguson, something like that, that's kind of in the same zone, gets you a similar build type, but a completely different captain and maybe a different roster otherwise. So I think that's kind of the main thing I'm always looking at is in Showdown, can only do so much. It's a much smaller player pool than you're used to. So it's really just setting up for how you want to set your builds up. Sometimes it's a unique captain. Sometimes it's leaving money on the table. Sometimes it's all the above. So think about that when you're building out. But I like the Meyer call. Someone said in the chat too, like it could just be with Geno having to scramble and just finds Meyer on the run. Like that could be possible as well. But bigger thoughts are going to be like Bowers, Ferguson, and then these guys in their quarterback captain lineups where you can start mixing in the backups. Title, anything else you got? If not, kickers and defenses.
No, not really. Kickers and defenses. If you can go any Trey Tucker, Ferguson team, drop them down to Aubrey Carlson. It's a little harder. Like you're giving up roughly 3.5 projection points, going like dropping Bowers, Geno, Pickens, etc., gets a little more difficult. So right there, 7.4K all the way down to 5. You can easily leave 2-4 on this slate. You can leave a little more, though. I always look at that. Defenses, I mean, Max Crosby's a monster. I mean, he can by himself strip stack, grab the ball, and take it the other way. Cowboys got a couple guys on defense. Geno leads the league in interceptions. You can make a case for it at low ownership, but I think both offenses move the ball pretty efficiently. The problem is you can still do that, and the Titans can score 20 against the Chargers on defense because of a random special teams and a pick 6. So I will always include the defenses, really, but I prefer kickers, and I think it's a great kicker slate. 50 plus is on the table for both guys in a dome if the offenses stall. So, yeah, I like kickers.
Trying to catch up here while you're talking on it, but I thought I saw this, so I was just going back to it, Hoop, and you do the game log watching on these kickers, but they did bring Greg Joseph in over in Las Vegas because of how bad Carlson's been, and he has not put up any good numbers in that, but there was an article just from a few hours ago talking about how today could be a better day for him. Obviously, like Title just mentioned, the spot, the stadium, all the different factors. What's your thoughts of the kickers here, Hoop?
Definitely, when you're in a dome and you got a guy like Aubrey that like 50-yarders look like chip shots, like you gotta have some interest. So I like him a lot. Definitely my favorite out of all 4 when talking, kickers and defense. Yeah, Carlson's fine. I mean, hasn't been great, like you said. And Joseph is in the player pool on DraftKings. They signed him to the practice squad on Tuesday. Sounds like it's still going to be Carlson, but a little bit of risk there, but definitely play him one game. And then the defenses, I mean, fine if I get some. I mean, they're cheap. We need some cheap plays on the slate to make a lot of things work. So I'll have them in the pool, but we'll be probably way under the field on the defenses.
Said that in typical Pete Carroll fashion, he signed another kicker to make Carlson compete for his job, put the pressure on. So we'll see how that goes tonight. But if you wanted to know this, in a standalone Thanksgiving game, we've got Thanksgiving coming up here. We'll have a special show schedule that week to get you guys all set up. But it said Carlson, this is back in 2021. They were on a 3-game losing streak, just like they are now. He kicked all 5 of his field goals, including a 56-yarder and game winner in overtime. So this could be the spot to, standalone game, 3-game losing streak, got to get the mojo back. Everything that happens in 2021, Thanksgiving, happens in 2025, not Thanksgiving.
Wait, we were at that game, Total. That's the game we were at.
That was
the game we were at.
I was thinking about it literally this morning. That was an awesome game.
That's the game we met up, and those
a lot of drinks are flowing. I don't remember the whole game, but it was a good game.
Yes, we were at that game.
Yeah, we were.
And those Raiders fans in the concourse were trying to reenact the Carlson kick at the end, and they got mad because we walked through their play and they tried fighting us. Yes. That's exactly what it was.
Full circle. I was thinking about that on the drive this morning.
You can't make it up. You can't make it up.
That was a great game, though.
So we were trying to think of the year. Now we know the year 2021.
That's funny.
That's incredible stuff, man. I'm glad I could be part of this in a small way, but that's good. Yeah. So right away, Scooter, a big 10K week for Scooter. Shout out to Scooter, Jonesy, Manning, Ranger again. Like literally everybody going up and says, you can't trick me into a kicker captain again. You guys are good storytellers, but I ain't playing this shit up top. Sorry.
Carlson the hero, big miss last week for the Broncos survivor people. That was it went from minus like 450 or whatever, like minus 1850. Late miss.
Cost him the game. Yeah, that's good.
Yep,
All right. Anything else, Hoop, then you want to add on to those guys? I gave my story. I don't have too much else. Aubrey obviously looks better on paper. People have Dallas winning. Therefore, that's kind of the setup, but we know what it is. It's a primetime game. Anything can happen. So thoughts on that one?
On kickers again?
Anything else you want to add? Kickers, D's. If not, you can take us to FanDuel.
Yeah, no, nothing else to add. I mean, I Aubrey is in a dome again. Like he can kick like 60-yarders with ease. Like just absolutely love him tonight. And then Carlson, and then the defenses are probably just in a group together. Yeah, I'm fine with Carlson, but Yeah, I mean, Carlson a little above the defenses still.
But before you do FanDuel, you just reminded me of something because you were making fun of it yesterday, and I love this. But we all were, like the wind stuff. Everyone's like, "Oh, the wind, it's so bad." And we showed that video from YouTube, and everyone laughed at that. But they show Buddy in warm-ups hitting like a 65-yarder, and it could have gone 70. It's like, oh yeah, the wind, it's so bad. It's like they're just pumping them through. Like I know it affected like one game yesterday.
Yes.
My point being, it's just hilarious how pun intended, overblown it gets. And then you just watch these guys go out. These kickers can just kick from 70, no problem now, it seems.
Exactly. For FanDuel, a couple things that definitely stand out is Geno, 10-2. So Geno on FanDuel, where quarterbacks have an advantage, is the 5th highest price, 13-2 for Lamb, 12-8 for Dak, 12-2 for Williams, 11-4 for Genti, then $1,200 all the way down to Geno. So I think that definitely makes him a strong option over there. Ferguson is still pretty expensive on FanDuel, 8,200. He's just $600 cheaper than Pickens. So it's a pretty tough click, I would say. Myers is still cheap at the 42 price tag, and then title your boy Flournoy. Only 2,600 on FanDuel, so all the way down there, really cheap. So he stands out, I would say, over on FanDuel. And then for some reason, the Beck guy is 4,800. So Beck is 48, like the most expensive of all the cheap guys, which would be a tough click over there.
Man. Thornton, 45. 3K over on FanDuel.
3K, yeah.
I was looking at the MVP spot. Yeah, title, anything you see there with that one? And then also, should probably take this question. It came up a couple times. I think this is an interesting slate to discuss this because, could you go without Dak and without Geno? I'll let you go FanDuel first, but I'm going to go back to this actually.
Yeah, kind of what Hoop said. The 13-2 CD will definitely keep his ownership down to an extent. Fitz scoring worse over there. 3K less is Geno, like Hoop said, a really good price, but Dak 400 less projects decently better. So I think CD will be squeezed to an extent. Ferguson's same thing on DraftKings, very cheap. Defenses are, both kickers and defenses a little more expensive, but with them all being in the exact same range, like defenses on both sites relative to kickers will be lower owned. Yeah, the Jack Best price is crazy, and Flournoy has a much better price on FanDuel than DK. Obviously, ownership follows though, and in Showdown, to be honest, like if I actually like a play, I almost want him to be more expensive just to keep the ownership down if he fully pays off. So it looks like Thornton, Blue, Mostert. Yeah, pretty much those three. Like if you want to pivot in the lower tier, people are going to go Mayer and people are going to go Flournoy. So right in between Mayer and Flournoy is Thornton, Blue, Mostert. If one of those outscore the other two, like if they're one of the highest in their range, then you could be looking at like 5 dupes or less today. If it is a Mayer or a Flournoy with the chalk, I think that's how you see the train. So yeah, that's how I see it.
I like Pickens cheaper than his DraftKings price.
Yeah, that's a good call.
At 8,800, 13-2 up top. Nobody wants him on any site. And it is what it is. Like it's, doesn't mean he's going to be his day. I'm looking at different angles. And I think that's one that stood out to me versus everything else that we see on either side. It's if he can get you a couple touchdowns, that'd be great. If he gets you one, you're happy. But like, you kind of need something to happen typically, especially if it's going to be a higher scoring game. But we've seen it where games like Higgins takes out Chase. We've seen games where Pickens takes out Lamb. Like we've seen games where Dotson takes out AJ Brown. So it's like, it's showdown. Anything can happen. Definitely have some interest in that. You can still spend your money a little bit, feel good about the overall lineup. So I think that one's interesting for me. Title, any final thoughts on the slate before we get out of here?
Just, I always do.
Yes.
I always like build my teams right now and look ahead. I don't submit them. I wait for inactives, but right now I was looking at 90 teams and only 7 of the 90 had no quarterbacks, which I do think it's viable, but it's not my favorite route to go.
What about you, Hoop? What do you think?
Well, you just gotta talk through it, and what sort of game would that sort of roster construction be needed? And
an under, you got it.
Yeah, right. It would have to be an under. Yeah, it would have to be an under sort of game. So you're banking on a low scoring sort of game where maybe both running backs get 80 to 90 yards, a touchdown, pick up some pass. I mean, it is feasible. I mean, you can definitely do it. I mean, yeah. I mean, if I'm going to hand build a team, would I do it? Personally, probably not, because I personally think this is a high scoring game. I think you're going to need at least one quarterback. But I wouldn't be surprised at the end of the night if neither quarterback was on optimal. So if you like that path, for sure, but just make sure everything else is lined up with it.
Yeah. And it's like you said, too, it goes down the line. If you're starting with that being a thing or not being a thing in this case of what you're asking, it's like, okay, what does that game look like? If it's an under, is it because, we're also seeing the defense is more involved? Is there kickers involved? Is there, other factors? So definitely just want to build accordingly. Our man, Nick, is in the chat. I probably do this before I do no quarterbacks. I'd probably do this and play it for that angle. I think that's, even if it's in flex, like it doesn't have to be like Captain Geno. I'm just saying you could do it in the flex spot. I think it's definitely a possibility. Hoop, any other final thoughts? Anything I'm missing? Anything you want to make sure we hit before we get out of here?
No, I mean, good luck. I want a high scoring game. I want some excitement. I want some back and forth. That's what I'm hoping for.
You want Cowboys.
And I want the Cowboys.
3-0 over. You'll take 38-33 Raiders.
Yeah, I need the Cowboys in that 2.5 milli splash contest tonight. So my number one priority on the night will be the Cowboys winning, and then number two will be having a showdown sweat at some point. But definitely Cowboys winning is going to be number one on the list.
Yeah. Tired of seeing low scoring. If this game comes out like Pee Wee football, I'm going to lose my shit. Yeah, everybody wants to see a game with some scoring for once. You mentioned it there too. Make sure, again, we've talked about this a ton recently, but if you guys aren't over at Splash Sports yet, Hoop's talking about sweating out the 2.5 million. Our man Title's got some big sweats over there in the higher stakes stuff for Splash since day one. I've got some teams left over in the revival stuff that are doing well. So excited for all that, but we got a ton more to come. We've got the golf one and dones are going to be coming up soon. We've got the March Madness tournaments. And then right now is the first time they've done this deal where they're giving out the free up to $50 deposit match. So and on top of that, you get 100% payout boost as well. So check it out. It's all peer-to-peer. So it's just like DFS. You're playing against other people. It's almost like a tournament with sports betting picks. It's kind of cool from that perspective. If you want to check out Ship It Nation, the best way to do so, especially on a Monday, is just to get in for the promo. Get in for the $19. We have a full season deal right on the page when you get to it for $199 for the rest of the season. But we agree, like you should always check stuff out. So if you're new, but you want to see what we're all about, you want to see, someone said, I only got 7 lineups, I'm screwed. We had our man Sharks in the MMA streets with very minimum lineups on Saturday. I think it was in for $300 and turned it into 65,000 US, 65,300. I would say US because I'm Canadian. That dollar exchange rate is so good. But either way, check it out, Ship 19, or you go to the site, you can use that code on the core or content monthly all access plan. Get in, get 5 days for $19. You get tonight, get the Thursday night, get the NBA stuff in between, all that stuff leading up to the weekend. You'll know where you want to go from there. That's going to do it for this one, guys. We appreciate all your support. Make sure to hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel for Title, for Hoop, for myself, ToeTagginTambo. Let's ship it.